Okay, Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Jessica Johnson, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend a warm welcome to Rifle Park, home of Banbridge Rugby Club. This evening of nostalgia and also looking towards the future as we move into our Centenary celebrations, which will start in January. Before we get into the formal proceedings, I'd just like to welcome our very own Rory Best, who's turned up today with a jersey from his first Babas match, which he'd like to donate to the club. And of course, we'll give it right a place in the club. So big clap for Rory.
Well, it fitted me once upon a time. Yeah, so this is whenever I retired in 2019 after the World Cup. My first ever game for the Babas was my third last game. So this is the one from Fiji. Picking up the 16th of November 2019, which is hard to believe. 6 years ago, I was meant to present it after retired, and then when the book came out, I started to do things like a book tour in Cheltenham and probably drank too much. And then COVID came, and to be honest, I completely forgot about it until Bronte phoned me about maybe lending the club a shirt for the presentation of jerseys out there, and that's when I meant to give you that jersey. So it seems like 100 years ago that I first came down to this club. It obviously wasn't. It was probably nearly 40 years ago. This club has been very, very special to me and our whole family. Ben's down here. He's now taller than me, unfortunately. He started rugby here, what is that, 11 years ago. I started before that. Dad's obviously been at the club for a very, very long time. So the club is very, very special, and I suppose it was my first ever Babas shirt. There was no better place that I wanted to be in this clubhouse because of everything a lot of people in this room have done for me and done for my rugby career. When I started here as a 4-year-old, I'd never ever dreamed that I would go on to do what I did, but the support that I got here made it all possible. So thank you to the club. I wish you all the very, very, very best with the 100-year celebrations. We have a few things coming up that you guys have dragged me in to help organise, which I'm delighted to do. So there'll be more about that, I'm sure. I'll not give away any secrets, but look, it's going to be a fantastic year. It's a fantastic club, and like I said, I'll finish where I started. It's a club that's very, very dear to me and has been very special and done a lot for my career and has done a lot for my family. So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be having this over.
Thank you. I'd like to take the opportunity at this point in the session to just thank all our sponsors. I think we couldn't function as a club at the level we do without the support of the sponsors. And in particular, some of our Centenary sponsors. So we've got 2 gold sponsors, EOS and Merlick, and our silver sponsor, All Fire and DGS Services, who will be supporting us throughout the duration of our Centenary year. So a big round of applause for them, please. I'd also like to thank our Deputy Mayor Jessica for taking the time to come and join us. Really appreciate that, and also for the support that the ABC Council has given this club over the years with grants and assistance and support. Really is much appreciated. Again, we couldn't do it without your help. Thank you very much. We do have a little grant. We're also delighted to join tonight by our Centenary charity partners. We've chosen 2 partners. That's the coach's son. Partners for the Charitable Trust. So we're going to support the IRFU Charitable Trust, that's represented tonight by Paula Stewart and Ian Wallace, and they're going to say a few words later on. And the Evora Hospice with Liz Armstrong is also going to say a few words. You'll be hearing about them all later on, but 2 really worthwhile causes that we're going to support throughout our Centenary year. It would be remiss of me not to sort of give a shout out to the Centenary Planning Group. We've worked very hard over the last number of months to put this evening on, and in fact, you'll hear the programme, and it is some programme when you see it, and I'm sure you'll all have great fun in enjoying it and taking part in it. But a special shout out to Bronte and Louise. I think they've been the main driving force behind the team. When they phone you and tell you you need to do something, there's no hiding place. So well done, Louise and Bronte. So we're gonna kick off tonight with a little question and interview session, a bit like Parkinson, for those of you that remember back 100 years ago. We've got a couple of old guests who remember the club when it first started, and an interviewer who also remembers the club, not just quite when it started, but so I'd like to put your hands together to welcome Kenny McElroy and David Dodge to the stage, please. And they're going to be interviewed by our Vice President, Alec Wallace. Alec, please. Oh. Go easy on them, Alec, please.
Sorry, I thought I was going to call them up. Cliffy's already done that. Just for anybody that doesn't know, a lot of you do know, but I was going to call these two men up. Cliffy's done it. Both of them have been club captains. Both of them have been club president. And both are currently club trustees and have put a lifetime of service into this club. So much so that David Dawes, and his wife Rosemary's here, and Rosemary, when David went home from the rugby club last Saturday night, Rosemary said, "Where were you?" He says, "I was in the rugby club." She says, "You're never out of that bloody rugby club." She says, "I think you love that rugby club more than you love me." David says, "Rosemary, I think that's very unfair. Like, after all of them have been together for over 50 seasons." But anyway, Kenny, I'm actually going to start with you. You joined the club in 1964. What are your memories of the club and the game of rugby in general, on and off the pitch at that time?
Yeah, well, I have to say, before tonight there, I just was thinking about all the different changes in the game of rugby from, as you say, it started 1963-64 season, and the game as it was played then is virtually unrecognisable as to the game today. For example, I just noted down these few little things here. When I started, a try was worth 3 points. Okay, a mark could be made anywhere on the pitch by making an actual mark with your heel, and you had to call out mark as well. This will be interesting to Rory here, because the wingers then threw the ball into the lineouts, and when I started throwing in, you actually threw the ball in from underneath your knees, so the trajectory was totally different to what the modern day throw into the lineouts are today. There was no lifting in the lineout. That only came in, I think, probably about the 1990s. You could kick directly into touch from anywhere on the pitch. And when I played the game initially, it was a 10-man game, because the ball came out to out half, he kicked into touch, and you worked your way down the touch line, and so the backs were very rarely involved. There was 4 people who actually got locked into an industrial fridge one time, and 4 of them died of hypothermia. The only one who survived was the Belfast or Danbridge winger, because he was so used to standing out in the cold. The balls, as David remember, were the old leather balls, and we never were lucky enough to have a number of balls you'll see about the pitch now. Every team got 1 ball per year, and quite often you had the blackthorn hedges around Rifle Park. Ball could be kicked into it, and it wasn't unusual to have the ball punctured. So a ball that was used for maybe a couple of seasons was almost the shape of a soccer ball. When it got wet, there were absolutely like loads of lead, and as well as that, there were like bars of soap to handle as well. Scrum halves had to feed the ball into scrums absolutely straight, okay? And the hooker had to hook, and also the scrum half, when the ball was still in the back row, he had to use his foot to actually hook it back out. If he put his hand on it while in the back row, he was penalised as well. Hookers had to actually hook the ball back then, and they actually had to be seen to make an effort to strike as well. Rucking was meant to produce quicker ball, but was usually used as an excuse to kick the crap out of some opponents. And rip their jerseys to shreds by rucking and by at that particular stage. Then fist fights were very, very common. Things like trampling, shoeing, and also raking, as I say, were common. Foot rushes are something you don't see in the modern game, but at that time they got it 3-4 forwards and ball at their foot, dribble it. It was known as a foot rush. Today, you see so many jerseys with different adverts and all the different allied sort of associated bits of equipment. Back then, I can remember the first few games I played for Lambridge, many of the guys had worn the same jersey for 8, 9, 10 seasons. They were pretty faded. Quite often the pants were ripped at the pockets in particular. I can remember leather boots, particularly the forwards wore leather boots with toe caps and the very, very high sides to them. They were used by the forwards. There's a different sort of lower cut boot for the backs. People wore shin guards. You don't see them very, very often now. There was no gum shields back then. There was no kicking tees. The corner flags were actually brush shafts with little clips on them. There was no post pads when we started playing. I can remember we got some eventually. There's no physios. There's no coaches other than the captain, whose responsibility was to act as a coach. And another job the captain always had was getting oranges on a Saturday, cutting them up and giving them to the players at half time. No fancy water bottles back then. I can remember we had a big glass bottle that said on it Crystal Crawford Sarsaparilla, and that was the water bottle. The first aid pack was something to see. There was a couple of rolls of bandages. There was a small tin box of plasters, a small bottle of iodine. There was smelling salts. At that time you got a kick on the head. You weren't, a head examination. You just given sniffing salts and sent back on again. Of course, you also had the famous magic sponge, which was out as well. One of my great memories of rugby at that time was the smell of wintergreen. Everybody was slapping wintergreen on their legs, and you might not have been a good player, but at least you smelled like one. And not only did you smell on the pitch during the day, but maybe you went to the pictures at night, like the Ivy or the Regal, and people sitting next to you were saying, Jesus, that guy must have a bad touch of rheumatism. Very, very cramped showers. If you weren't in early on, they were by that stage they were cold. I remember also the style that we walked over, or we jumped over to get to the pitch itself. And of course, the sing-songs in the old Downshire, the big fire, and the countless games of buzz that we played in the Downshire as well. So those are just some of the little differences when David and I would start to play back in the mid-60s.
You're a lot older than me, Kenny. I don't remember any of them.
I'm actually sorry to ask Kenny there. I actually think it's put any of the young ones off playing rugby. Thankfully it's all changed a wee bit, but at the start the club had a nomadic existence. For its first 50 odd years, at that time they were using the Downshire Arms Hotel as our base, or our clubhouse, or changing rooms. So the development of the clubhouse in 1981, which Kenny was actually the president that year, while you were president, was very, very important to the club. Now, what did the new clubhouse mean to the club, and what challenges did you have to overcome to finally have a place to call home?
Well, I mean, obviously, we changed in what were the old converted stables in the Downshire Hotel. Just Sammy was saying, one of the new dressing rooms now is probably bigger than what we would have changed, 60 players in back on the old stables. There was absolutely no luxuries. It was just a concrete floor. I can remember there was a huge big mirror set in the middle of the floor that sort of divided one side from the other. There's a big wooden box with countless things in it, like old deflated rugby balls. I can remember there's a couple of old humps used to blow up balls, a couple of old lineman's flags that have been long since forgotten about. And I remember when we were clearing it out, actually, when we were moving, we actually found an old jockstrap, which is something of historical value now. And the jockstrap was so disgusting, actually, I think we could have sent it in for a blood test or a bile test. The fact was, when we were playing at Rifle Park and we were stripping in the Downshire, you had to actually walk or run from the Downshire up a Newry Road, down a little narrow lane that was bristling with thorns and nettles, and then eventually you went over the stile and you were on to the two undulating pitches, which had a slight slant running down from Newry Road all the way down to where the current pitches are today. When you started the season at the beginning, some local farmer would come in, cut the grass, so it would, even at that stage, it would be maybe 3-4 inches long, and there's still been the remnants of some of the cow pats from that summer. And that was always a good way of softening up the guys coming in from north and collegians and so on, let them fall into some of the cow pats as well. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for that, Kenny. On to David here. David, the club enjoyed a very successful period from the mid-1980s, winning Towns Cups, Junior Cups, Nutty Cross tournaments, numerous league titles, right up until our entry into the All-Ireland League in the 1997-98 season. Can you tell us a wee bit about that period of time in the club?
Well, I suppose the main turning point, as I recall, was the 1983-84 season, when at that stage we were in Junior 3, which is the third tier of junior rugby, and we managed to get to the Junior Cup final, and where we lost 3-0 to Oma. But that was the first, I think, stage when we identified that maybe we could be competitive at a higher level than we played, and from then on we had a steady rise through the ranks to the top level of junior rugby, winning 2 Towns Cups and a Junior Cup in the way.
Brilliant. I remember as a kid, and even the years that we didn't win something, they were usually in finals, different things at Ravenhill and stuff. But that was obviously from humble beginnings. But Banbridge enjoyed almost 50 years without ever suffering relegation, rising at one stage to become the 12th best ranked team in the whole of Ireland in 2018. What would you say was behind Banbridge's success in your time at the club?
I think at that stage in the early 80s we had a reasonably good team, but we had 3 or 4, maybe more players who either had played senior rugby or were capable of playing senior rugby, and that just made a good team, a very good team. In that 84 year we had Philip Mahaffey, one of the outstanding captains, but it was those, I think, the peppering of a few guys with senior experience, and Dave Neely saved the night. It's typical of that, who came with all that experience from the Premiership in England. David McKee came back having played senior rugby at Dungannon. Sam Grattan came back from Portadown. And then your players like Philip Mahaffey and Bobby Irvin, who could have played.
Don't forget about Bestie.
Norman Thompson.
Don't forget about Bestie.
Yeah, who were, John came from Portadown. And with all those players, those handful of players, just made that such a difference to a lot of players, and raised the standard of players who maybe wouldn't have been as good if they hadn't played with that quality.
That's brilliant insight. But at that time in 1981, I'm going to ask this here, whichever one of you want to answer, that's fair enough, but at that time in 1981, the president, I think I've seen the board out there, the president of the Irish Rugby Football Union travelled from his Galway home to perform the opening ceremony. Now, back then the roads were pretty woeful compared to what they are now, so like Galway's a big trek nowadays, but back then I don't know how long it took. But he travelled here from Galway to perform the opening ceremony. He spoke for everyone present when he said, and I'll quote, David had showed me this article last night, so this is a quotation from him: "Seldom, if ever, have I sampled such hospitality. The organisation has been first class, and Banbridge can now go forward with confidence into a new era. The Banbridge Committee can take a bow for their efficiency, administration skills and enthusiasm." So that was boys like you that were involved. It now seems that we have now, 44 years later, we've come back around full circle again, and we're back to that point of fundraising, borrowing money for our new redevelopment. I'll ask this here, whichever one of you want to answer, that's okay. So having been around since 1981 when the clubhouse was built, what do you think the redevelopment will mean for the next generation of players here at Bonbridge Rugby Club?
I think the very fact that we wanted to carry out the extension says how important it is to prepare for the future. We can't just stand still. We've an influx of female players, young and old, and we needed facilities for them. And the expectation of younger players now are higher than they were. They go to council facilities now and see nothing but the best. And to come up and use our own changing rooms is like a step down. So we need to let them see that we're preparing for their future and building for their future and not just content to stand still.
Or you, Kenny, have you any view on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, it's again another show of faith in the future and another show of how the club is actually continuing to progress, you know. And as I say, a club that stands still, you know, for 2-3 years, that eventually begin to win, you know. So I think you always have to have goals, you always have to have ambition. And, you know, when I think, a few years after I joined the club, it was really a terrible time in terms of results and in terms of player numbers. The club that got to the final of the Towns Cup, sort of 58, 59 I think it was. That next year, 5 or 6 of the guys retired, 4 or 5 guys moved on to other clubs. And then for the next 5, 6, 7 years, almost a decade, we continually just were seemed to be dropping down the divisions. And even the number of teams dropped there. And I can remember driving around the town on Saturday morning, actually looking to pick up players, you know, to go and play for the first. And I can remember going to Randallstown, and the front row was John Heron, Marty Pritchard and Derek Clark. And if you put the 3 of those together in terms of weight, you probably would hardly make up the weight of one of the big South African props you'd see in the field today. But David's been quite modest here, because I think, I can remember when I was secretary, I think it's recorded in 7 minutes, it said, this could be seen as a year that the club's fortunes began to turn. Because the seconds actually, I think, got promotion that year. And then David's year as captain, we also got promotion. And that was the first sort of sign that the tide was beginning to turn. And then, you know, we're very, very lucky. We're very, very lucky in getting guys coming into the club, and they all come in all of a sudden. Some of them were really excellent, not only players, but excellent club men as well. I'm thinking of people like Raymond McKinstry. We've got people like Davy Rankin, guys come in like John B. Mears, Sid Moore. You could go on and on. There's about 9, 10, 15 who guys come in here, and they're not only good club men, but they also boasted the numbers, and particularly you also not only need a strong first team, obviously you need seconds and thirds all the way down the club as well. And so over that period, just after David's side got promotion, for the next 5 years, that was when we started to progress and start to move back up the divisions again. Yeah.
Brilliant. Timmy Dodds. Is David's son. Don't need to do a big speak about him. Captain or president or anything. That'll obviously come at some stage. But Tim has been currently working on a book about the club. What can we expect from the book when it's released?
Yeah, well, it's a book to chart the 100 years of the club, and as my dad and Kenny, you know, they've touched on sort of small moments in the history, and there's a lot of history there. So it's really the idea behind the book is to capture it all. And there's lots of really good archive information that goes back and predates the club, and there's a lot of interesting stories. So the book will hopefully sort of bring new stories to life, capture the great moments of the club's history, and serve as a really good record of the past 100 years. So there's things in there I've discovered researching the book that never, had never heard of before, never heard from anyone else. So I don't want to give too much away. Plane crash in Rifle Park in the 1950s. I don't know if anyone recalls that. But even stories about people from Banbridge who played for Ireland in the Lions before 1926. So it's going to hopefully capture the great moments in the club's history. The 30s, when we won the first Lions Cup, the good period in the 50s, the 80s and 90s and junior tournaments, and then all that league rugby, and then of course all the other aspects in the club as well. So the youth section, the ladies, the Barbarians, the Blue Sox. So there's a lot there. So hopefully it does justice to the club, and something that people will look forward to seeing when it comes out. So
Thank you, and we'll look forward to that. Now, I think Louise is going to play a video here, but just before she does, I'd like a big round of applause for the two boys on that.
So what a history, what a club, and what a future. Before we go on into just what we're only going to run for the Centenary programme, I'm delighted our two charity partners are here today, and so I'd like to ask Paula and Ian, would like to just say a few words on what the IRFU Charitable Trust is all about. I'd like to support them. Ian. I'm not going to interview you, I'll just let
No,
you.
it's grand, that's fine, yes, thank you. Hi everybody, it's a pleasure to be here tonight at Banbridge, and I'd just like to say huge congratulations on all you've done so far, and very best wishes for the rest of the Centenary celebrations. It's truly fantastic, and it just looks fantastic. I'm here tonight wearing my IRFU Charitable Trust hat. There were quite a few. I've been involved with the committee for quite a wee while now, and it's probably one of the most rewarding things that I do. The IRFU Charitable Trust was set up in 1978, and it exists to support players who have been injured through playing rugby. So we provide financial assistance, supplies, equipment, and then also there's a social element of it as well. So there's friendship and support and emotional support and things like that. So the charity survives on donations and support from clubs like yourselves. So we are really over the moon that Banbridge has decided to make the Charitable Trust one of the charities for the year. It does great work. Clubs can sign up, schools can sign up, and individuals can sign up. So if I can encourage anybody here tonight, if you would like to get involved, it's a very easy process and it can be done online. But I'm not going to rattle on any longer, because the benefits of the trust are really only felt when you hear from a player who has experienced the work of the Trust. So I'm going to hand you over to Ian Wallace, and Ian's going to tell his story and how the Trust has helped him.
Right, hello. Basically, I got hurt playing for Centenary against Skill several decades ago. Basically, I got caught in the bottom of the ruck, and then when the ruck collapsed, my leg broke, and the weight of numbers, and when my leg broke, the bone severed an artery, wrecked ligaments, wrecked nerve damage, and my leg was just a mess. Lived with it for years, did a temporary job up in the Belfast City Hospital, and a couple of months there, and then 2 years of physiotherapy. Over the years, the leg got progressively weaker, and then 5 years ago, coming on 6, the leg was finally amputated. And it's a case of, well, what now? You know, the house wasn't exactly aimed for an amputee. That's when the Trust got involved. 2 gentlemen arrived at the house, and they basically said, right, how can we help? What do you need? And what can we do? We didn't basically no idea, because I say we were still on the terms for what happened. And basically the Trust helped build a downstairs wet room for me. Because some days when I don't wear the leg, I have a wheelchair. And then in the mornings I can wheel in there, get a wash, and it was just unbelievable what they did. And it doesn't end there. There's regular conversations, there's regular phone calls. We'll phone up and say, how's it going? What do you fancy a cup of coffee? It's always the same. Do you need anything? Can we do anything? And they said, look, you've done more than enough. It's just amazing what they do, and it's just constant help, constant support. And if you need anything, they always say, don't be afraid to ask, and because that's what they're there for. And over the last 5 years, the support's been just been valuable, because I wasn't quite sure what we've done without it. And that's basically it, guys.
Thank you, Ian. And I'd like to ask Evora Hospice, Liz Armstrong, come up and say a few little words as well.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have any connections with rugby, but my husband did. And I know what it's like to be a rugby widow. He played for Oma and he played for Dungannon. And I think I've heard those names being bandied about earlier on. For those that don't know me, my name's Liz Armstrong, and I have been a volunteer with the Evora Hospice, which was known as the Southern Hospice, and even before that was known as St John of God's Uri Hospice. So I have been with them for over 35 years. I also have the experience of working within the Southern Trust as a care manager, and one of my roles was to go into the hospice and work with the nurses and doctors and physios to try and get people back out home again with services and with them. Evora Hospice provides support for patients' physical, emotional and social needs, and also supports their families through difficult times, challenging process. The hospice ensures that care is tailored to the individual wishes and needs, supporting them from the point of diagnosis and helping them to live as well as they possibly can with their condition. It provides this support through an inpatient unit, community services and bereavement support services. The hospice is there for people and their families when they need it most, providing specialist and palliative care, and covers the whole of the Southern Trust. So we're talking about from 5 Mile Town to Annalong, to Lurgan, all that area. This year the hospice went through a rebrand funded by the Dormant Assets Northern Ireland, which is delivered by the National Lottery Community Fund. Evora derives its name from the Celtic word Uri, reflecting on the hospice roots in Uri, a word that also means you. Evora is also a district in Portugal, where St John God was born, providing strong links to the hospice legacy as an organisation founded by the sisters from the Order of St John God. Last year, the inpatient unit, day therapy unit and community services team helped over 1,500 patients. This year, it will cost approximately £6 million to run the hospice. Of that, we must raise £4 million, which is 65% of our total income, throughout fundraising alone. That's equivalent to £335,000 each month, £77,000 each week, and £460 an hour. Many people in this room will have experienced the work and services of the hospice at some point in their lives, and have seen the amazing care and dedication that the hospice offers to families at probably the most difficult time in their lives. We sincerely thank Banbridge Rugby Club for choosing us as a charity this year, and everyone here tonight for supporting us during our difficult financial time. I'm sure everyone is feeling the pinch in this weather. Every penny truly makes a difference to hospice services and to our local people. Without your support, the hospice couldn't do what they do. I wish you all a very successful rugby year and a successful centenary year. Thank you. Do have evenings if you want some.
Yes, we'll leave them so. I'm sure you'll thank the two charities, and I do think it's two very worthwhile charities for the club to support during this year. There's been a guy sitting on the front here. He's only been watching the Traders program where you see the guy sweating a lot, worried about will it go well. We've got one on at the front. He's not a trader, he's a faithful, tell me. So I'd like to invite Bronte up to the front, who's going to run through the year's calendar and what you could expect from our functions. All right, Bronte?
Yeah, thanks very much, everybody, for coming out. Yes, it's great to see so many people here, and I think it's a testament of Banbridge Rugby Club of what a good community, what a good bond, and just what a great place it is, and it's really been a pleasure to be involved in the Centenary planning group. When we sort of first met and we came up with a sort of aims, we had sort of four main aims. I wanted us to celebrate 100 years of Banbridge Rugby Club, deliver a really memorable series of events. For Mark and I have been talking about this for a couple of years, and it was always on different clubs, and it was seen Navan had theirs last year, and different clubs, and I've been on the internet and all sorts and seeing what other clubs were doing. But I wanted us to really showcase why I think we're one of the best clubs in Ireland and deliver that. Provide a historical record of our past achievements, which Tim is really spearheading in terms of our book, and then leaving a lasting impact on our community. It's not just about this little group that throws a rugby ball about in Rifle Park. We're much more than that, and we reach a wide community. So it was really that celebratory community fundraising and commemorative tone that we wanted to set. So this is our centenary calendar, and hopefully we'll get some dates. I know people will start booking holidays and stuff all now, so there's key dates that will come up here. Get them in your diaries. Don't let anybody book holidays on some of these key dates. So we start the year in January. Hopefully this comes up, there we go. In January, Tim will hopefully keep me right on this and all things historical, but we played our first ever game. Now, it wasn't really an official Banbridge Rugby Club, it was a group of Banbridge Academy former pupils played on the 2nd of January 1926, they played in Newry. So we're going to recreate that game on the 2nd of January. It'll be an over 35 fixture. Believe it or not, I just about qualified for that. Cliffy definitely does, yeah, we're going to play that on that Friday night. I've been in contact, I know there's quite a few former Banbridge Academy pupils here and playing in the club. We've got some of the old principals and teachers, and they're all really interested in coming down, so that'll be great. There's loads of games happening, so they'll be coming along on that 2nd of January to see that fixture. And then we have our big Centenary weekend. It was a few weeks later, after that first game against Newry, where the group of pioneers that formed Banbridge Rugby Club got together, had an AGM and officially formed a club. So we were lucky enough, we built it round the weekend. The RFU thankfully gave us a home game that weekend against Ballymena, another local Ulster club. So that weekend of the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So on the Friday night, we're going to have a Banbridge Rugby Club versus Banbridge Academy former pupils. There'll be no love lost in there. And I know, guys, already there'll be people flying in from all over the place to come and play in that game. So that'll be on the Friday evening. There'll be a bit of music and entertainment and stuff afterwards. So I encourage everybody to come to that. And the very pleasing thing, you'll see there's a jersey up there, and our other Lion, I think, is down in that corner. We have 2 British and Irish Lions who played for the club, Rory and Tyrone Howe. Rory was a Portadown College guy, so he was going to be coaching the Banbridge team that night, and Tyrone Howe, as a former Banbridge Academy pupil, is going to be coaching the Banbridge Academy Old Boys. So that 23rd will hopefully be good. And then on the Saturday, Banbridge, our first 15, will play Ballymena in the All-Ireland League. There'll be a big lunch. I think it's sold out already. And hopefully we'll have our 2 Lions along that day as well. That weekend, Paula will hopefully help us on this one here. The women's fixtures for after Christmas are not out yet. So we're really keen for a women's home fixture that 25th. Put that in your diary, Paula. We want a home game for our women's team on the 25th, and there'll be some minis games and youth games. There's the youth. I think it's a cup weekend so hopefully if we get drawn at home and with one of the youth teams, we'll have some youth games and minis games as well in January. So that'll be a big start to our year. Into February. I see him sitting down there. He's definitely, there's a few more greys on show there, Robbie. But in February, we're going to have a past captains and past presidents lunch. So we're going to invite anyone who has been a captain of any team, first to the couple of seasons where we had 6 women's teams as well. It'll be the 22nd of February. That coincides with France, Italy on one of the Sunday games. So the games, that Six Nations game will be up on the bar, and we'll have a Sunday lunch, hopefully everywhere, just to sort of thank all those who have led our club over the 100 years. So anyone who has been a captain of any team will be invited along that Sunday, and hopefully have a bit of fun and a good feed that you always get in Banbridge Rugby Club. In March, we're targeting the over 35s quite early here, because they're not going to last the pace throughout the year. So we've thankfully got the perennials. So the group of guys that come around and playing. It's a number of years now since we played them, but the perennials have agreed us to play. I'd say, having played the Newry one and then the Banbridge Academy one, there could be a few hamstrings about the twig in March time, but we'll give it a go, and so that promises to be a good day. Anyone who's ever been to any of the perennials games will know they enjoy themselves afterwards, so there'll be a bit of crack in here in the clubhouse as well, and hopefully a laugh at somebody's bound to have done a hamstring that day, so we'll get a bit of crack. In the April is really where we want to start to give back a wee bit to the community. So over the 4 weekends in April, our challenge is going to be, we're going to try and lift 100 bags of rubbish for our 100 years. So not just in Banbridge, but we want to target our towns that sort of most of our players have come from. So we'll go to Brickland, we'll go to Points Pass, we'll go to Fryland, Scarva, all around. So we're going to really target, we're trying to put teams together. All of these initiatives, by the way, I'm always up for volunteers, so anybody wants to speak to me afterwards and wants to help with this, it would be great. But yeah, a big challenge. We're going to try throughout the month to lift 100 bags of rubbish. anyone who, I live in Gloucester, which is coincidentally exactly a McDonald's away from the McDonald's at the boulevard there, because no matter what, not me by the way, it's not me who's eating those McDonald's, but it seems to be exactly a McDonald's because they drive there and then all the McDonald's wrappers get thrown out in and around Toll's shop in the Bronte Primary School. So we'll go round the whole countryside, we'll go round the local towns, and we're going to try and do that for our local community. In the May, April will be our awards dinner as well, which Alec always puts on a good show for our awards dinner. So keep that date in mind in April, and then in May another bit of a challenge and something that we're really going to push towards for our two chosen charities. We're going to try and challenge young and old to do 100 miles in May. That can be walking, that can be running. It works out about 3 miles or about 5k a day, and we'll try and get people from our minis to our oldest. I'm going to give me a challenge to see can I do the whole 100 a day, maybe on his bike. But yeah, we're going to try and do that, and we'll get fundraising sheets out, and it's one that everyone within the club can hopefully get behind and try and do that with some keen runners who have been doing lots of running over the past wee while already. So that's a big challenge for May. And into June, which is probably one of my favourite ones, Rory has played a big part in this, and David Humphreys has played a big part in this. We, over the last number of years, guys like Simon Best and James Mallers is here, and Mark and Andy Duke, etc., have put on some great dinners with Rory himself and Paul O'Connell. But I obviously the Lions was a big thing during the summer, and everybody wanted the Lions to win, but I don't think anybody wanted the Lions to win more than me, because the Lions losing coach mightn't just have been as big a draw, but thankfully we have got a Lions winning coach to come and speak on our gala ball. And it's been great actually this week. Anybody who's listened to any sort of podcast or news or chat shows, Mr. Farrell has been all over the place promoting his new book, and he's very popular at the minute. So it was really pleasing to see this over the last week. And yeah, he promises. I've listened to pretty much every podcast he's done this week, and I really can't wait for him to come along. I think it'll be a really smashing evening, and one certainly not to be missed. So yeah, the 6th of June in the Crown Plaza. Yeah, you can phone up, there'll be rooms. I would say knowing the way we do some of those functions, they'll go on till later in the evening. So get that booked in, and no holidays early June. Into July, we are going to have a family fun day. So again, very much part of we want everybody. This isn't just about a lot of those over 35s or the first 15. It's about the whole club. So we're going to really push, and we'll have a family fun day down at Rifle Park, and we'll hopefully have loads of things, rugby on the show, bouncy castles, activities, the whole family, barbecue. It'll be a great day, and we hope to as well in July. Supposedly we'll get some good weather in July, but we'll have a big Centenary golf day as well. We had our golf day for the first time in a few years this year, and it was very popular, and great numbers out of it. So we'll really push hard and have a big Centenary golf day as well, which will be a big part of our fundraising. Which leads us into August, and like Rory said, he's helped us quite a wee bit leading this. So this is something a wee bit special, and not too many clubs in Ireland even have had this team over. We have had quite a history, and that's deliberately why we have it out there in the bar area. We've quite a history with Banbridge and the Barbarians, particularly thanks to Donal O'Shaughnessy and some of his Babas gears out there. But between Donal and particularly Rory, we look to be going to be having the Barbarians here to play a fixture against our first 15. There are a few first 15 who maybe in the bar worried now, but we're going to be playing. We've got some big names already sort of signed up for it, so that promises to be something really special. It'll be early August on the 8th, to try and pick a date when there'll be no other rugby on in the province. Pre-season friendlies for clubs will start sort of the week after or 2 weeks after, so it hopefully gives Banbridge a chance to put on a fixture that will be the talk of the province, and hopefully bring great numbers down in through the gate. So that's really special, and I really thank Rory for helping with that and trying to make that happen. That week, and for that 8th of August, we'll have a big marquee. So that we've done in the past, and we've put a big marquee in the car park. We'll have that marquee up, and to utilise that marquee over the week, there's going to be a comedy night, which with lots of local comedians will be on. So that will be on the Thursday night. On the Friday night, we're really pleased to have a few of our own back in playing music. So the Dukes, Andy Dukes, two boys of the Voice fame are going to be playing that night. And then we certainly know Whiskey Before Breakfast, Doc Shannon and Stuart Ferris and the rest of the band. The two groups will be playing in the marquee that night as well, so the Friday night. So again, that'll be a night not to be missed as well. And then on the 15th of August, we're going to have our own Centenary tournament. Really pleased to be able to invite, we've got 3 other clubs coming to play us who also celebrate their centenary in 2026. So we've got a club coming over from London who are bringing their men's team and their women's team. Scaries, this is one of the most random facts I think of. There's another club in Ireland that will celebrate their centenary in 2026 as well, Scaries Rugby Club, just north of Dublin. And they are the only other club in Ireland that play in maroon, navy and yellow. 1926 must have been the colour for maroon, navy and yellow, but Scaries are coming up on that day. They don't have a women's team, but hopefully we've got a few others on that. There's another club coming over, so we've got 4 clubs, so we'll have a 4-team men's tournament and a 4-team women's tournament, and yeah, we put that all together and we throw them all into that marquee afterwards. It's certainly going to be an interesting evening, so it'll be great crack and a really fitting end and a lot of fun end to that big week of events in August, and that hopefully will be a great one. September, we'll have our now traditional Centenary Blue Sox tour on this club, with taking tours to Canada and South Africa and the many tours that the Blue Sox run. So it'll be great to have them going on tour again as the Blue Sox in our Centenary. And then for our local primary schools, there are a couple of really good tournaments in June time for the primary schools, but we're going to run one in September then when they're just back to school to encourage them to be coming down to mini rugby at Rifle Park. We're going to run our own schools mini festival, so we've got quite a good CCRO network going out into lots of the primary schools, so they'll all be invited down to take part in our mini festival. In October, something that I was something that I is one of my favourite bits about Banbridge Rugby Club is the ladies committee. They really are. People say it all the time. They're second to none. That group of ladies, in terms of the feeding and the crack, and they're just such great supporters. And there's one coming up this year, and there was one last year, and we had a ladies' day. And it's not really a ladies' day in my mind, because the women's team still are in there making the dinners, serving the dinners, and there's maybe a few tables of ladies. That day, the ladies, you're not in the kitchen, Jane, so you are 100% the A team, the B team, the C team, the D team. You've got the day off. The men are going to be, they'll have to be selective on who cooks it, but they will be serving, and all you ladies will be invited along to the lunch and to celebrate that. Coincidentally, Maynard, you are not in the ladies' committee, okay? I don't know why we got a really good. I 100% no, you're in the kitchen. Louise picked that photograph on purpose. She says, yeah, I sort of seen that one pop up and I was like, there's no way Maynard is sneaking in. And so yeah, it'll be really great to celebrate the many ladies who have, like Liz said earlier on, maybe consider themselves a wee bit of rugby widows and stuff, but they've played a massive part in this club, so it'll be really good to have them along that October and have a proper ladies' day and enjoy that. In November, we really want to thank our sponsors. Again, particularly these four, but there are loads of sponsors that have helped this rugby club massively, and without them, we just couldn't function. So there'll be a big sponsors day along that day that they'll all be invited to a lunch and really to try and celebrate everyone who has sponsored the club over the years. So that's a massive one. We'll have a big lunch in November, and then to finish the year in style, again, we wanted to finish with a wee bit of community. So the target is going to be out there that we want to distribute 100 food parcels in the lead up to Christmas. Again, to give a wee bit back to our local community in the lead up to Christmas. And then I really thought, well, what better way to finish Banbridge Rugby Club's centenary than to bring back and to celebrate the Christmas cracker, the infamous Banbridge Rugby Club Christmas cracker. So there's been some brilliant nights in here. I'm sure there's some stories that probably couldn't be told, but to celebrate that and finish off the year in style with a good old-fashioned Banbridge Rugby Club Christmas cracker would be a fitting way, I think, to finish off our year. That's just a big overview of sort of some of the major things we want to do during the year. There are lots of other little bits and pieces. Between minis, I've been speaking to the Centenary committee down in Skerries, and they're very much in favour of, we're going to be sending our minis down there, they're going to bring their minis up here. Our youth, they've got girls' youth as well, so there's going to be a nice little relationship with them, and we're going to come up and down. We'll try and tie it in with maybe a Leinster game, and they're going to try and tie it in with some Ulster games so that they can come up and spend the day up in Ulster, and we'll go down and do the same. So we'll be filtering those in through the year, and there'll be other little bits and pieces happening as well. And then some of the stuff that's sitting down at the back table, I wanted to go through and sort of touch with you. We've as I'm modelling the shirt, but there's lots of merchandise. These ones in particular, it's nice to see a few of them on display around the room. But this is the one that will stay with Banbridge Rugby Club. That's the 100th jersey. So on the jerseys, they're sewn. There's only 100 of them going to be made. They are embroidered with a little 1 of 100, 2 of 100, etc. That's 100 of 100. So there is going to only be 100 released. You can have whatever number you want. So Cliffy, you played prop, isn't that right, when you were... so you can have whatever number you like on the back of your jersey, and you can order that up and they'll be ready for Christmas if we get them ordered in the next... They're priced at £100. There'll be... if somebody's down at the back there and holds up on it, Mark, grab one of those nice wee boxes there that they come in. Do you see them there in the table behind you? They'll come in a wee commemorative box. With Banbridge Rugby Club stamped on them. Yeah, there we go, nice wee Banbridge Rugby Club boxes. But those jerseys are available. All the merchandise is available at the back tonight if you want to have a look into it. They'll make great Christmas presents. It's been doing a hard sell here now. But yeah, you can get a look at those at the end. What have we next coming up? Yes, for our modern crock bearers, this will be particularly good. These will be great little Christmas presents and stuff as well. We have some Banbridge Rugby Club crock charms, or crock gibbets as they're called. I think next we have all our bobble hats. It's certainly going to be coming into that season soon for hats. So we've our Centenary ties, our new tie for the Centenary. We've got some polo shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts. We've also got our dress shirts and our quarter zip tops as well, available in the club shop. One particularly of interest to me, we have got our locally brewed Clubhouse Craft beer that there was samples. So when you go back out in round on the right hand side, there is some samples of that. So this is brewed down in Warren Point. and they've kindly branded it all up with our Centenary logo. And then our local distillery in Donaghcloney, we have got some Centenary gin and some Centenary vodka as well. Again, there's little samples that you can try outside. Again, who wouldn't want one of those? Even take it home, obviously drink it and keep the bottle as a wee memento. But again, great Christmas presents to make. But all of those are available. I think that is all of our merchandise, isn't it? So there's loads of things there. Please take a wee wander. The shop will be open. Some of the merchandise is there. And I just want to encourage you as well. We've got loads of our cups at the back. Some of our Towns cups that we heard having won, and our Junior Cup. We've got some of the under-18s cups, our Nutty Crust Cup. There's lots of, some clubs around Ulster have been really good and given us those and the end of those for the night, so have a look at that. Our museum, we've really appreciate everybody's input in that. We've got some memorabilia that stayed within the club, but people like David Dodds, Mark Wall give us a lot of stuff. Philly Strong give us some brilliant stuff, and Trevor Snedden, and all our barbarians. So Rory has given us his jersey tonight. Albert Finney has given us jerseys. Mark Wall has given us barbarians jerseys. So it's a wee nod to them, and that's why I was so keen to try and put a little bit of the Baba stuff out there with our big game coming up. So there's some great memorabilia. Please enjoy that this evening, and I think Cliff is going to finish up here, but encourage him to hang around as well.
Thank you, Robbie, and enthusiasm is oozing out of you there. You did tell me to keep everybody in time. The only person who wasn't in time, Robbie, but anyway. Well done. And you can see the hard work that's going in the background with this committee led by Robbie and Louise. And, big credit to them all. And we need your support as usual. One thing you didn't mention, and I just want to raise it again, we're going to start tiling the wall. There are still spaces for anybody that would like to buy or subscribe to tile and get your name up on the wall for the prosperity of the club. It's needed because the building is costing slightly more than we thought, but it's a super building. I'm told, well, it is a super building, and we should be so proud of it. It will be open for anybody that wants to take a little tour around it and see it. There's food, little buffet, etc. Finger food, I think, available as well, and the bar's obviously open. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you found it interesting and worthwhile. What a fantastic club. Thank you so much.
Rugby is more than just a game.
It's a passion.
It's a community. It's a way of life. And here at Banbridge Rugby Club, it's everything.
This is where we come together
To push each other.
to be our best.
Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, there's a place here for you.
Because we're not just a club, we're a family!
And families come in all shapes, sizes and abilities.
So join us
and be part of something special.
Rugby, where passion meets unity. At Banbridge Rugby Club, we believe in the power of rugby, in the power of bringing people together, regardless of age, background or ability. We raise each other up to be the best we can possibly be. Our Club for All ethos ensures everyone has a place on our field, where camaraderie, respect and passion unite us. An inclusive, welcoming environment is the very fabric of our being. Having fun is at the heart of everything we do. Join us and experience the true spirit of rugby. Banbridge Rugby Club, a club for all.